This is the great Northern Peninsula, a giant finger of land pointing to Labrador. The snow-capped spine of this peninsula, the wild, long-range mountains, tower out of the narrow coastal plain. Forest, bog, barren, lake, stream. There's everything here in this bold, striking land. The waters of the northern Gulf are cold, and the winter ice often lingers late. The winds that sweep in from the icy seas are chill. Spring does not come early to this country. Yet there are gardens. With kelp and capelin and loving care, the sandy soil will come alive and crops will grow. But let's not fool ourselves. This is not exactly choice farm country. People here live by the fruits of the sea. Some of our best fishing ports are here on the Northern Peninsula. Just about everyone has a boat of some sort or another. They fish for lobsters, cod, halibut, salmon, seal, herring. Herring is a big fishery on the Northern Peninsula. There are a lot of boats, a lot of men, and sometimes a lot of herring. And this is Cormack, just south of the Northern Peninsula. Farmland, rich soil, flat, sheltered country, far from the sea and the ice and the fish and the mountains. What's Cormack got to do with the Northern Peninsula? Well, not very much, normally, but at this time of year it does. For the potato crop here at Cormack is picked by fishermen and their families from the Northern Peninsula. Farmer Sandy Rideout had told us several times about a rather interesting arrangement he had with the people of the coast. It sounded like a perfect story for land and sea, so we began filming. No problem filming this part of the story, but with the herring fishing, I was turned back 3 times. Paul Harrington finally made it, out in Eugene Plowman's boat.
Last year, I believe we got 30,000 for the whole summer.
And you got that much in one day at one time?
And we got that much in one day, back 4 years ago. We're just gone.
So are you going back down to Cormack, Paul?
Oh, yeah. Please God if I live. Please God if I live.
You look forward to it or what?
Oh, every year. I look forward to that trip, every one. We never miss another one.
What do you enjoy about it?
Huh?
What do you enjoy about it?
Good holiday.
It's not work at all, is it?
Nah, no work to it. A little bit of work to it, but only a few hours and you're finished. We still got our potatoes yet what we got last fall. 10 months. We've been eating them now 10 months and we're still at it. So a lot of money on that.
That's a lot of potatoes.
Good many potatoes, boy.
How many did you bring back with you?
We brings back 30, 40 bags to it. For that.
So how many got left now? That's almost a year ago now.
Just about a year, but not too many left now. Everybody's scarce.
Well, you'll soon be going back, I suppose.
Soon he starts digging again. Soon he starts digging, we're gone again.
Sure enough, in a few days they gave it up for a bad job. Took their nets ashore, bundled up wives and kids, and hit the road. Trucks of all sizes, pickups, homemade campers, all headed south to the fields of Cormack. For some it was the first time, but for most It's a regular migration, a tradition to pick potatoes for a few days each year. And to visit the farmers they'd come to know so well over the years. One of them is Sandy Rideout.
It all started back, I don't know if myself or Pierce Upper. I would say Pierce Upper had the first 2 or 3 crews in here. And then a couple of people, families came up from down in Fro, New Fro. Started with me. And from then on it's been increased every year. And now, well, the amount of people coming, well, you just can't handle it.
So it's men, women, children, the works.
Oh, the old works comes, yeah. Yeah. They usually take the kids out of school for 2 or 3 days or up. And they have one big happy family.
Make sure you get your jacket and cap.
What elastic the road.
Well, it's all fine and dandy to have a big happy family in your fields, but is this really an efficient way to harvest a crop? It didn't seem to make sense. This is no backyard garden. 15 to 20,000 sacks of potatoes come off this farm every year. And Sandy Rideout is regarded as one of our biggest and most progressive farmers. Why doesn't he use his modern harvester and eliminate all this hand labor?
We haven't used our harvester now, I guess, for 4 years. We find this method we have now, and it's much more efficient. It's quicker. We get more potatoes per day.
This is with the people who come in from the coast.
Come in from the coast, yes.
So this is a bit of a tradition here now, isn't it?
It's been happening now with us, even when we used the harvester. We had other diggers, and we used to use both ways at the time, and then we got out of it altogether. The harvester.
So these 15,000 bags of potatoes were taken in by people from further along the coast, from Newfoundland,
right from
River.
God, we have them here from St. Anthony this year, right to the end of the island.
And it works well?
Oh, it works perfect.
It works perfect for Sandy, the farmer. But what about the pickers, the fisherman turned farmer? What makes him turn from the sea to the land? Well, according to Eugene Plowman, the fellow we went fishing with a while ago, it's just a matter of reaping one harvest after another. Some are on the sea and some are on the land. It just makes good economic sense. And there are fringe benefits too.
We start in the spring at the lobsters, and when the lobsters is over, we start at the herring. Then we fish it right on through to it freezes over.
But now, how do you get time to pick potatoes?
Oh, it's just the slack time of the year. There's generally in the first part of September, middle part of September, the herring is slacked away, and then there's nothing going on. And it's a good time for us to go, and then we get our trip up to Cormack and gets our potatoes, and we comes back then and we waits for the herring to come. So
there's a lull in the herring season.
Yeah, so it is, yeah. The slack, there's always a slack. Every year we get a slack time in the herring. Couple of months, 2 months and a half like that. Just depends on the weather. Just fall closes in a bit earlier, they'll come in a bit earlier. If it's cold, warm, fall, they'll hang around. They'll stay away until they get the right temperature of the water.
It's not your first year at it, is it?
No, I've been up there around 10 years now. I guess myself roughly around 10 years, going up every fall. Every fall we have our trip. It costs us nothing to get our potatoes. A few with a couple of 3 days work and nothing to that.
You take the family up too?
No, it takes a couple of small ones with us, a couple of small boys with us. Bit of company for them, little trip.
What about the work now? Some people say that's awful hard work, picking potatoes all day.
Well, every what you go at is hard. You gotta work for it, you gotta work hard. So nothing to that, it's only a couple of days and it's all over. You gotta blow again.
It pays off, doesn't it?
Oh, it pays off, yes. A lot of money sold, getting your potatoes of that.
How much do these fishermen and their families earn for picking potatoes? Not a cent. How much does Sandy Rideout gain or lose in this transaction? Nothing. It's a neat system of barter and cooperation. Not a cent changes hands. Sandy explains how it works.
People come up, well, the old families come, in fact, and they pick up 11 bags of potatoes, 10 for us rather, and one for them. And a group comes, well, they want 20 bags of potatoes, for instance, for the winter. And they'll pick up enough potatoes for 20 bags.
And what about turnips now and cabbage?
Well, we naturally, we most times, and we're not into the turnip harvest. But they still want the turnips. So they'll pick up 20 bags. Probably they only want to take 15 bags of potatoes back. They take 5 turnips or 3 turnips, a couple of cabbage, and something like that, you know.
So what would an average family go back with now at the end of, say, spending a week with you in the fields?
If the weather is right, no, very few of them spend any more than 3 days. They'll get enough in 3 days for the winter. 30, 40, 20, anywhere from 15 up to 40 bags. So potatoes for family.
So they'd have plenty of vegetables to do them all winter.
Yeah, they have plenty. In fact, I was down there this summer and visited some of those people, and that's remarked then, I'm still eating potatoes we had last fall, and that was in July something.
So there's no money exchanged at all now in all this?
There's no money involved, only your gas to go and come, that's all.
But I mean, he doesn't pay you?
No,
and
he doesn't pay, we
don't pay him.
Mm-hmm. We don't pay him, he don't pay us. It's all done just for your labor, that's all. He goes up there and works and he gives you vegetables. You gotta pick up 10 bags, see, the 11th one's yours. Picks up 10 for him, and 11th one is yours. But if he didn't go up and do it, he had to pay someone else to do it, and still come out to the same amount, so. He figured it's just good to get people going to work on labor for their vegetables as it is to pay people.
Well, I still found it remarkable that such a system could work. I suppose we're all brainwashed a bit into thinking that the trend is to machines instead of hand labor. But the way Sandy explained it, his farm's productivity has increased rather than decreased. The system simply works.
Well, we'd have to increase our equipment a lot. Our harvester, we have a harvester over there, I guess it's as good as any around, a single row harvester. And we have to, 500-600 bags a day. We wouldn't be able to harvest our crop if we had just go in with the harvester. That's the equipment we have now.
So it's better to have people in the fields working?
Better to have people in the fields, yeah. I don't know what I would do if I didn't. We'd have to cut our acreage quite considerable. Because let's face it, if we go 18, 20,000 sacks of potatoes, which we will on a normal year, and rate it out for one harvester at 500-600 bags, you'll never get them in this world because you don't want 38 or 40 days harvesting, and that's an impossibility.
And it's not practical to have more than one harvester?
No. I couldn't change the system we have now. I'm happy with it, and the people that are working with us come in, I'm not saying working with us, but come in for the vegetables. They appear to be fairly happy. It's a good system. I don't know what to do without it.
Have you ever figured out how much you do save by doing this now?
Never figured it out how much we'll save. It don't cost us too much, $30 for the gas, and we got our 12 months supply of potatoes and turnips and cabbage. It's just as cheap for we to go up there and get our potatoes, just set our own potatoes. Not much different. No, you get them just cheap. When you got to work to set them, and then you got to work to dig them up, you sit your own self. You got to use your fertilizer on it. That's costing money. So we figure it's just as cheap for us to go up there, or cheaper, and just to set them. And then if we do sit some ourselves, we got no sport at all. We don't get our trip out of it. So most of the people goes up there, they goes up for the trip and a little bit of sport.
In October, the evenings are long, but with a crowd of friends camping together on the edge of the potato fields, it's far from dull. There's fun, there's sport, as they wait for another day. You have a lot of fun there, seems like, sometimes.
Oh, you can have a good sport there. You get around, the right bunch gets together, you got number one fun there.
An October morning on Sandy Rideout's farm. A touch of frost in the air, crisp, cool. You step from the warmth of your camper to breathe the peppermint air and to get ready for another day. The old back may be a bit creaky for a while, but that will soon pass. After a lifetime of hauling lobster pots and herring nets, there's nothing to this, at least not for a few days. Besides, you're your own boss and can pick as much as you want. And so the day begins again. The empty sacks are brought out and placed throughout the fields. Potato pickers, the men, the women, the children are given a lift out and spread themselves throughout the fields. And the work begins again. Since you're not on salary, you can work pretty well as you please. If you want to take home a lot of potatoes, you work hard. If you don't want too many, you take it easy. Or if there's something important on TV in the middle of the afternoon, well, you can just go back and watch your story. And Sandy Rideout couldn't care less.
Oh, yes, if they're picking up near the campers or anything,
Yeah.
they'll go in and watch their stories in the afternoon.
I guess it doesn't matter to you because they're working for themselves.
No, they're
anyway.
working for, unless they cut down on too much what we got to throw up on digging, I mean, but otherwise it don't make no difference. Because if they pick up 10 bags or 100, I mean, that's
It's up to them.
up to them. And so long as we've got enough grow in the field to keep machines running, that makes no difference. All I do is control what they pick up, sort of, they see that they don't pick up too much rubbish and try to keep a bit of order in the field. Some people pick up a bag here and they go across the other field somewhere and pick up another one, but you got to keep sort of some control on it. What? They, of course, when they come in here too, they live off the farm. For if they're here for 2 or 3 days or a week, well, they live right out the field. They get a head of cabbage when they want it, turnip when they want it, carrot when they want it, and they seem to like it very well because they get fresh vegetables right from the field to the pot, and it's something they're not used to very much.
I dare say you've made a few friends at this.
Oh, I have a lot of friends on the coast. Yeah.
I suppose sometimes now you go to visit them yourself, do you?
Oh, we do, yes. I go down there and go down there. We were down there last summer. We went down to Anthony and we visited most of the people I went through.
I dare say they had you in for a meal of potatoes too.
Oh, no, I didn't want no potatoes. Usually lobster time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, do they bring down anything with them, or do you have to exchange anything else?
No. They always bring up a bit of salt fish and a bit of fresh fish and whatever's on the go when they come. They generally bring me something like that. We end up with enough salt fish for the winter and quite a bit of fresh fish, herring and you name it, what comes out of the water they bring up. It's nice, though.
Every year we go up, we bring up bag apples and stuff, fish and herring and stuff down there. Some fellas brings up herring, some more fellas bring up fish, and some more fellas bring up bag apples.
We get partridge berries, mish berries, all kinds of berries and stuff to bring up down there.
These are things you can get here that he can't get in
That he
Cormack.
can't
That's
get in
right, yeah.
Cormack.
Oh yes, and that'll help shoot up there because He gives us all our cabbage and stuff. We ain't got to buy none of that. He ain't got to work for it. He gives us cabbage free.
I mean, when you're done work, you're finished for the time to come home. What do you tell you to go on the field and get the cabbage and turnip stuff for yourself?
The serious fishermen among the pickers kept phoning the folks back home, checking on the herring. If they strike in again, they'll have to shorten their trip and rush back to get their nets in the water. But by the end of the third or fourth day, most have got a load of vegetables anyway, so it's time to pack up, time to go home. It's only potatoes they pick, but most families want to bring back some cabbage and turnips too. Again they swap, a sack of spuds for a sack of cabbage. Each family now has enough to keep it going all year, a winter's diet of fresh produce from the farms of Cormack. The trucks groan under the weight of the vegetables as they nose their way out of the fields. Then 'twas on through the town of Cormack, a last glance at others still out harvesting, and then the long trail home through the Bombay Mountains and on up the coast to Farrell and Bartlett's Harbour and Castor River. How did they fare from the trip? Later we found out.
We had 2 load last year.
2 pickup truckloads?
Yeah, 2 was it?
2 last year, 3
We
the
had
year.
3 the year.
You went down 3 times.
Yeah, we got 50 bags of potatoes, was it? All told, was it?
No, we had 28 days the first time, and 34 the next time, and 28 last time.
Well, that's a lot of potatoes.
We had 48 days of vegetables last time we come down.
It's a pretty good way to do it, isn't it, Sandy? I mean, you must save a lot.
Oh, you saved a lot, yes. Well, like I was telling you yesterday, you'd have potatoes when you wouldn't have them, because you wouldn't be able to afford to buy them. You'd have to buy something else, and well, you'd be without potatoes.
Yeah.
So now when you got your potatoes, well, you haven't got to buy them, you can have them all the time, you know.
We had 28 sacks of potatoes, and we had 4 sacks of cabbage, and we had 4 sacks of turnips, and a sack of carrots. So that was a good load.
So you have a good many meals of herring and potatoes in the winter, do you?
Wonderful.
Will you be going back again now next year,
Oh
Susan?
yes, please God, I'm not sick.
Yeah. You look forward to it then?
Oh yes, wait for time come.
So in 2 or 3 days' work up there in Cormack, you've got enough.
Got enough vegetables for a year. The last meal goes back in next fall.
But Sandy, now next year, harvest time, you expect the same thing will happen again?
I'll have the same thing, and 90% of the same crew, probably 100%. Same people coming up there, coming there for years now.
I guess they're all friends now, are they?
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, this has been a land and sea story if ever there was one. Potatoes from the land, herring from the sea. But it's more than that. It's an example of the cooperative spirit that's not supposed to exist anymore. What it does here on the northwest coast. No money was exchanged. Free labor for a cellar full of vegetables, and a holiday to boot. Sandy Rideout can double his acreage because of this unique arrangement with the people of the Northern Peninsula, and they can have the best of eating all winter. Land and sea, fish and potatoes, a combination that's hard to beat. See you next week.